A couple weeks ago, I asked you guys to put down which tracks you guys want to see or you guys would predict to be in the next Mario Kart game on Nintendo Switch 2. I predict there's going to be 6 total retro cups: shell, banana, egg, bell, leaf, and lightning cup in ascending order from easiest to hardest difficulty track. I asked you guys to come up with a prediction, and I took the average track's placement in each cup, and the top 4 usually became the 4 tracks per cup. If there were duplicates, then the tracks underneath those, so like the 5th or the 6th or sometimes even the 7th highest ranked tracks, would enter that cup if there were duplicates voted per each cup. I put the numbers together, so let's see what the Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart Nintendo Switch 2 retro track selection would be if it were up to you guys. And also, if you're watching this and you're like, darn, I missed out on this, then who knows, maybe I'll do something like this again in the near future. Just be sure to subscribe and check out my community tab, or the posts tab that I believe it's now called, for more community posts coming soon. I'm gonna go in order of the tracks with the least amount of votes that made the cut for each cup to the track with the highest amount of votes, because I think it would work better for the cup organization. First up is N64 Koopa Troopa Beach with 6 votes. I kind of like this pick. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that it actually made the cut to the shell cup. I didn't think many people were going to think of this track or consider it, but it made the cut. So shout out to Koopa Troopa Beach. It was a retro track in Mario Kart 7, and I liked it then and there. I also liked it in the original Nintendo 64. So it's a vibe, and I think it does deserve to come back. Next up, I'm so glad you guys brought this one back. It's SNES Koopa Beach 1 with 7 votes. I'm so surprised you guys went with this one, but honestly, it warms my heart. This is by far my favorite Super Nintendo track in the original Super Mario Kart game. So the fact that you guys actually brought this back in as a retro track for Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart Switch 2 in the Shell Cup here is incredible. And also, Shell Cup, there's 2 Koopa tracks to kick it off. How incredible is that, guys? Next up is a track I actually am kind of surprised made the cut. It's DS Figure 8 Circuit with 11 votes. A lot of you guys voted for this track, and it really surprises me. I didn't expect a lot of you guys to like this track or even remember that existed. But hey, regardless of what I think, it made the cut. It's a fine track overall. Obviously, the music slaps, but the naming and the design of the track just feels a little bland to me, a little bit too boring for Mario Kart 9, which seems to be going for a grandiose adventure type style. But then again, a lot of these tracks might not even fit. Who knows what will happen? Figure 8 Circuit makes the list, though. I'm not mad about it, but I'm just a little bit confused. But hey, we'll take it. Last but not least, with 13 votes in the Shell Cup, is Daisy Hills from Mario Kart 7. Let's go. Has not become a retro track yet, unless if you count Tour, that it did return in Mario Kart Tour, but did not return in Mario Kart 8 at all. So if it does come back in Mario Kart 9, it will be its first appearance as a retro track, and it's a fun track. I do like it. The music is very calm, so I do like this track, and I think it can work as a retro track in the Shell Cup. Next up is the Banana Cup, and we are starting things off with 3DS Woohoo Loop. This one's a solid track. It got 6 votes, and I'm honestly a little bit surprised it made the cut, but I couldn't be happier because this was a track that I was expecting to make Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and to be in the Booster Course Pass, even though it was not in Mario Kart Tour at all, and I feel like they didn't remember this track or just forgot to bring it back. I don't want it to be left behind in Mario Kart 7. I do think it deserves a revival, and based on how the track layout from Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart Switch 2 looks, Woohoo Loop seems like it could be a perfect recreation of that. It's literally set on Woohoo Island, so we got to get this track in as a retro track for Mario Kart 9. Next up with 9 votes, we got DS Delfino Square. Of course, this is a great track. I love Delfino Square. It's fun, and I mean, it fits the Banana Cup. It was already in a Banana Cup previously in Mario Kart Wii. Shockingly, has not returned since, neither as a DLC track in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or it hasn't even returned in Mario Kart Tour at all, which I find really, really shocking. There was quite a few DS tracks that were in Tour, but DS Delfino Square was not one of them, believe it or not. Next, with 13 votes, is 3DS Shy Guy Bazaar. Now, this is only going to be one of 2 cups in this entire retro track selection that will have duplicate tracks from the same game previously. So there are 2 3DS tracks in this cup. There will only be one more cup with 2 tracks from the same game. So you guys did a pretty solid job diversifying your picks into what tracks you want to see in each specific cup. So I'm proud of you guys for that one. But regardless, Shy Guy Bazaar is in here. And of course, I mean, this one was a classic in Mario Kart 7, did not return in 8, was in Mario Kart Tour. So it shares a similar fate as 3DS Daisy Hills. And we've seen Toad Circuit, for example, in Mario Kart 8. So I do think that the other more highly acclaimed Mushroom Cup tracks like Daisy Hills and Shy Guy Bazaar deserve a chance to come back. Lastly, in the Banana Cup, of course, we have to go with Wii Toad's Factory with 20 votes in the Banana Cup alone. Now, this is a good time for me to bring up the fact that Toad's Factory could have been in the top 4 for each of the first 4 cups in the game. You guys voted for this track so many times, and if we're counting based on pure votes, no matter which cup you sorted it into, Toad's Factory by far got the most of them. It was actually the highest ranked and voted track in the Shell Cup as well, but I had to put it in the Banana Cup instead, so other tracks can be in the Shell Cup as well. 20 of all these votes for Toad Circuit are exclusively for the Banana Cup, hence why it is the last track in the Banana Cup, because they got the most votes out of every other track. I mean, you guys love Toad's Factory, and it deserves to come back. Next up, your Egg Cup. These are your normal difficulty tracks. We're starting to get a little bit trickier from here. It's like sort of in between Banana Cup and Star Cup difficulty. You kind of get the gist. Regardless, Wii U Sunshine Airport is going to be up first with 9 votes. I'm surprised. This one is the highest voted Wii U track in terms of its popularity. A lot of people really like Sunshine Airport based on the design of what Mario Kart 9 or Switch 2 is looking for. Sunshine Airport seems like it could be a solid location for a track to appear as a retro track in this game, and I think Sunshine Airport is a solid one. It's got great music and it's a great atmosphere. I'm glad you guys picked this one in, and it's going to make the Egg Cup here. Next up with 10 votes is Tor Piranha Plant Pipeline. There's a lot of Tor fans out there. I love Tor as well, and Piranha Plant Pipeline being stuck in Tor is kind of shocking. It's kind of sad as well. You do want to see this track come back in a future Mario Kart game. Like, come on, please. It didn't return to the Booster Course Pass for some weird reason. We love Piranha Plant Pipeline here in Mario Kart Tour. I do think it deserves to make a return in Mario Kart 9. Mario Kart 9 does seem super wide open though, and this track is anything but. You're pretty much confined in a red or blue split path pipe for the entire time, but it's still fun to drive on, and it's a very good sounding theme as well. Give Piranha Plant Pipeline some love, and hopefully it comes back here in the Egg Cup. Next up with 12 votes, we got GCN Mushroom City. This was another very popular track for people to vote for. It was voted a lot in the Bell Cup and in the Leaf Cup. I decided to give it the Egg Cup nod here just because there wasn't too many tracks that people voted for in the Egg Cup overall, so we needed more representation for it, and therefore I wanted to give GCN Mushroom City this nod, even though it probably deserves to be in a slightly higher, more difficult cup. But I do think overall, if we just make the track a little bit bigger, it becomes a less more of a Toad's Turnpike style and Moonview Highway, somewhere in between, but with a more simple design. I think it could work to be a simpler track than those types of other highway tracks, and there wouldn't be as many cars on the course. Mushroom City, one of my favorites from Double Dash. I do think it deserves a nod, and I appreciate y'all voting for this one. Last in the Egg Cup with 14 votes goes to N64 Wario Stadium, another very popular vote no matter which cup, Egg Cup, Bell Cup, Leaf Cup. You guys loved N64 Wario Stadium. I gave it the Egg Cup nod for the same reason as I gave Mushroom City, just because we needed more representatives for the Egg Cup. It didn't have a lot of tracks with very high votes. It's a long track, but it's not too difficult, and they'll probably make it shorter or cut the laps up. They might make it 1 or 2 laps. Who knows? Wario Stadium is a fun track, and they can really spruce it up here in Mario Kart 9. All right, let's get to the Bell Cup, and fittingly, the first track is going to be Wii U Super Bell Subway. Of course, if we're going to take the Bell Cup with us as a retro cup, then we got to take the Bell track as well. Super Bell Subway that was in the Bell Cup in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and bring it back in the Bell Cup for Mario Kart 9 as well. This one got 6 votes, so it just barely made the list. I do enjoy my time racing on it. It's got a couple of shortcuts here and there. It's a bit more confined, but it does take place in a subway system, given that real world element that maybe Mario Kart 9 is going for. And I think overall, you guys really made a good choice by picking this one to be in the Bell Cup. Next up, I'm going Wii Dry Ruins. A lot of you guys voted for this track to be in the Leaf Cup more than in the Bell Cup, but there wasn't as many tracks that were represented in the Bell Cup, so I needed to cut corners somewhere, and I had to give Wii Dry Ruins the track that is in the less difficult cup. And I think it could work because Dry Ruins, besides like its sharp turns and such and its deep sand, it's not an extremely difficult track, and I think Mario Kart 9 can find a way to make it slightly easier, maybe cut back a little bit on the sand. And I know that will maybe hurt the track's feelings towards other people, hurt the track's value in a way. People like the track to be difficult, but the mechanics, the track needs to fit the mechanics of Mario Kart 9, and if it's not going to go for much of a tricking system or a half pipe like BMX type style, then maybe that sort of style for Dry Ruins might not be the way for Mario Kart 9. And again, this is all just a hypothetical. We don't know which direction it's really going to explore. Maybe they don't need to change much. Maybe I'm just talking randomly. Who knows? Solid pick for the Bell Cup. Next up with 9 votes in the Bell Cup, we're going 3DS Maka Woohoo. I mean, of course, you guys love them. I love them. We all love the Woohoo Island tracks in Mario Kart 7. We were bummed when they didn't bring back in Mario Kart 8 or 8 Deluxe or the Booster Course Pass. So it is a little sad that they are just eternally stuck in Mario Kart 7, but there's a chance, there's still a chance for them to come back in this Mario Kart 9 Nintendo Switch 2 release, and I hope they do. We talked about how Woohoo Island could fit as this sort of wide open adventure based track style that they might be going for in Mario Kart 9 or Switch 2. Who knows? And that's why Woohoo Loop was a good pick for the Banana Cup. Same reason why I think Maka Woohoo can make a great pick for the Bell Cup. Last but not least in the Bell Cup, we're going DS Airship Fortress, the track that should have been in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in the Booster Course Pass. I think we all believe it, but there's still time now that we got a new Mario Kart game for them to bring Airship Fortress back. I love Super Mario Bros. 3. I love the airship levels. I love how difficult they are. Airship Fortress is a fine enough track. The music's pretty darn solid. I'm not a big fan of the loop section, the windy castle tower section towards the end of the track. Besides that, though, it's still a fun one, and it's got a lot of fans, and I think it makes for a very difficult track and a very fitting final track at the end of a cup. So to have it at the end of this Bell Cup makes a lot of sense to me. So we're going to keep it here. And you guys did a great job voting it in both the Bell and the Leaf Cup, but I decided to give it to the Bell Cup instead. Next up is the Leaf Cup. Now the Leaf Cup is going to have the most amount of tracks that actually had votes that were outside the top 4. So the tracks that are going to be in this Leaf Cup weren't actually the 4 highest voted tracks, but that's because the tracks that were have already been delegated to spots earlier in the cups, whether it was Bell Cup, Egg Cup, or even Banana Cup. That just goes to show you guys voted the same popular tracks throughout multiple different cups, but we're still going to give some other tracks some love, and they still got a decent amount of votes regardless. First up with 7 votes, starting off with the Leaf Cup, I'm actually going DS Bowser Castle. That's right, we're getting a Bowser Castle stage in the Leaf Cup. How about it? DS Bowser Castle is a pretty fun one. I do like this one with its rotating iron bar at the top, and if you fall down, you're onto a grass patch, and you have to take a super long way to get onto these metal cubes that are just floating over lava. It is a very uniquely designed Bowser's Castle. It's got a rotating tower as well. There's just so many unique elements. It takes derivatives, I feel like, from N64 Bowser Castle and a little bit from GCN's Bowser Castle. It really makes it into its own. I'm curious to see how it would fit the mechanics of Mario Kart 9 once we know more about that game itself. Next up, also with 7 votes, GBA Lakeside Park. One that theoretically should have also been in the Booster Course pack. It got a extreme glow up in Mario Kart Tour. That would be cool to see Lakeside Park, especially with a proper sunset style. And once the sun does set, laps 2 and 3, the volcano erupts and starts putting fire pits on throughout the track. That would be great to see. So let's get Lakeside Park in the Leaf Cup. You guys voted it in, and I'd be happy to see it come back. Third track with 9 votes in is Mount Wario, Wii U Mount Wario. And of course, you guys would not let this track slide and get snubbed of a retro track pick. This is one of, if not the most popular track of the original 16 Nitro tracks from Mario Kart 8. So I don't blame you guys for picking this one at all. It's a fun track, a phenomenal track. Love the snowy vibes, the one lap madness that is Mount Wario. And Mount Wario could also fit a 24-player mode in Mario Kart 9 because it's just one long giant road. You're not looping around the track. Last track in the Leaf Cup with 11 votes is GCN Wario Coliseum. So how about it? We get 2 Wario tracks to close out the Leaf Cup. Let's get it. Wario Coliseum is a fun one. I really would like to see this one come back. I've been advocating for it to come back ever since like Mario Kart Wii to Mario Kart 7 days. I like this track in Double Dash so much. I do think it deserves to come back. It is the only 2-lap track in Mario Kart history still to this day, and I do think it deserves a chance at redemption. It's a lot of fun. It's a unique concept and idea for a location. Yeah, Wario Coliseum is such a vibe. I love the track so much. Let's get this one in the Leaf Cup here for Mario Kart 9. Last but not least, we have the Lightning Cup, and this one was the cup with 0 controversies. There were only 4 tracks in there that had the highest amount of votes that were not picked for any other cup. The first track in the Lightning Cup here is gonna be Wii Bowser Castle with 12 votes. A lot of you guys love Wii Bowser Castle. It's probably one of, if not my favorite Bowser Castle tracks in Mario Kart history. I love the layout to this one, the wavy road. It's got the shortcuts. It's got the long, narrow straightaway with the Bowser throwing the flames at you, and you have to go on the half pipes to be able to avoid that. Rotating wall at the end with thwomps. It's got a very solid design. Got the fire geysers. Really great track. The music is ominous. Love Wii Bowser's Castle. I think it's long overdue for a remake, so let's get it here in the Lightning Cup for Mario Kart 9. However, that's not our only Bowser's Castle, because GCN Bowser's Castle, also with 12 votes, makes the cut for the Lightning Cup. GCN Bowser's Castle, pretty much everything I said about the Wii Bowser Castle applies to this one as well. This was one of my favorite Bowser Castles growing up. It was obviously my most nostalgic one. It's got the creepiest music out of all the Bowser Castle tracks, and it shares a very similar layout to the Wii Bowser Castle, except not as high flying and acrobatic as the Wii one. There's not as many jumps because tricking wasn't a thing in Mario Kart Double Dash at the time. It did have the Bowser statue throwing fireballs at you as you were running away from it, so that was a pretty cool thing that you had to guess which way on the return straightaway to go to avoid the fireballs from that Bowser. It was really, really cool to see. And yeah, overall, GCN Bowser Castle is a fun track, and this is a track that is also very long overdue for a remake, so let's get it here in Mario Kart 9. Next up with 18 votes, we're going GCN Rainbow Road. We're getting a Rainbow Road. Of course, we needed a Rainbow Road here in the Lightning Cup, and GCN is one of the next ones up in terms of the Rainbow Roads that need to be remade. It's one of the few that have not been remade because a bunch of Rainbow Roads were remade in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and in the Booster Course Pass, but GCN Rainbow Road, as much as I advocated for it, was not one of those tracks, unfortunately. So hopefully it gets remade here. It's a big enough track where I think it can support 24 players. It's got a beautiful, beautiful sound to it. The music to Rainbow Road is amazing, and I just wish if they do bring this track back, they need to have the gimmick of stars, shooting stars falling onto the track and literally becoming invincibility stars that you can pick up as ground star items and use as a star. It would be incredible if they brought brought that feature back, so they need that for GTA Rainbow Road. But yeah, I mean, let's get this track back into the game. Though the only reason that track would get snubbed from this next marker game is if they bring this track back. With by far the most votes in a single cup is GBA's Rainbow Road with 34 votes. No other track comes close to it. A lot of you guys, almost half of you guys that participated in this poll, voted for GBA Rainbow Road to appear in this cup, the Lightning Cup, and I don't blame you, because there was a trend that Mario Kart has started, with Mario Kart 7 having SNES Rainbow Road as the last track in its retro selection. Mario Kart 8, before the DLC and the booster course pad, has N64 Rainbow Road as the last track in its retro selection. And then of course the DLC and the booster course pass kind of screwed everything up, adding a bunch of Rainbow Roads here and there. But if we go back to the retro selections, ending with a Rainbow Road progressively from the Mario Kart series, GBA is next on the list, and I think that's where a lot of you guys came up with the idea to include GBA Rainbow Road in this list. I don't blame you guys at all. GBA Rainbow Road is such a fun track. My only wish is that if they do bring this track back, please include the bumpers that were in the original so that we can take crazy shortcuts. There's so many opportunities to make and level up GBA Rainbow Road. Maybe add some elevation somewhere. That would be kind of cool. It's a flat track right now, but we haven't really messed with the elevation in a Rainbow Road before. SNES Rainbow Road is flat all the way through no matter which version of it you play. So if you mess with the elevation in GBA Rainbow Road, I think that can make it somewhat fun. GBA Rainbow Road was no question making the cut for the Lightning Cup, and the last track in the Lightning Cup at that. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is your guys' list for your perfect retro track selection in Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart for the Nintendo Switch 2. What do you guys think? These are your guys' picks. Did the tracks fit the cups that you want? Obviously, there are some rearranging that I could have done, but at the same time, these are all the tracks that got the most votes in your guys' polls. So let me know what you think below. Which tracks do you think got snubbed that aren't on this list at all? Let me know down in the comments below. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. To all my members, you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for your support. It's really overwhelming and very motivating. You guys are so kind, and thank you for your generous support. Truly means the world to me, and I hope you guys continue to enjoy the content that I put out for you, but for everybody else as well. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe if you are new. We're trying to hit 17,000 subscribers. Let's go. It feels great to say that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay all pro, and I'm out of here.